Hey everyone, it's Lane with Tim's Nation here. I am here today to talk to you a little bit about the Space Marines Army I am bringing into DJ's Imperial Agents. He wants me to keep slapping him around, so I'm going to try. I know a couple weeks ago he did have a victory against the Votan, but the Votan are kind of my weakest army. Not that the army itself is weak, it's just for some reason I can't figure out my playstyle with it. But today we're talking about Space Marines. I am running Ultramarines in the Vanguard Spearhead Detachment again. I ran this a month or so ago. I've tweaked some things a little bit. The army is really CP hungry, so it's really worth it to put Marnius Calgar in there. I know a lot of people, when they put Calgar in, they put him in a big squad of aggressors or blade guard vets or assault intercessors, put another character in there, give them the blade driven deep enhancement so that they can infiltrate. I'm not doing that today. I'm just going to put him with a squad of blade guard veterans and kind of save him for a later game. He's not going to be one of my initial pushes with the army, so he is in there to give me some CP, and also obviously he hits real hard. Marnius can slap pretty hard. And hey, you've been playing the Space Marine 2 video game. We definitely want to see Marnius Calgar on the table a little bit. So we're going to go through the list here. I'll kind of talk through everything, how it's going to work. And then we'll talk about like some strategies and things I'm going to try to do during the game. So here, let's take a look at the list. All right, this is 1,995 points of Ultramarines Vanguard. So Ultramarines, we have got 2 Ultramarine characters. And the Vanguard detachment, everybody knows Space Marines get Oath a moment. The Vanguard detachment gives them, if anyone is shooting at me from more than 12 inches away, I get both stealth, so -1 to hit, and I also get cover, whether they can see my whole model or not. So it's more defensive. That's actually not going to come into play in this game very much, because the Imperial Agents don't have a lot of long-range shooting. It'll come into play a little bit with the Helvrins out there trying to shoot at me a bit, especially with their AP1 guns. But if they're -1 to hit, it's going to make things a little tougher for them. But most of the army is going to be trying to get close to me. The Breachers all have mostly 12-inch range on their guns, so they're all going to get up nice and close. So that's actually not going to be super relevant. But I do like the stratagems that the Vanguard Spearhead Detachment offers, namely that I can uppy downy a unit for 1 CP. I miss having that with my Death Watch, so I'm glad that we've got it somewhere else here. And also the stratagem to give me +1 ballistic skill and +1 AP when shooting at a target that's more than 12 inches away. That's always handy just to make sure you absolutely kill something. And then we've also got a fallback stratagem, a counter move stratagem. When someone charges me, I can spend 1 CP and move D6 inches away. So let's go through the list here, and then we'll talk about how everything's going to work together. First of all, we just got 2 characters, but man, do we got the big boy character. We've got Marnius Calgar. This is his first time being on the channel. Death Watch is gone, guys, but I'm still going to paint all my Space Marines as Death Watch. So this is a Death Watch painted Marnius Calgar and his Victrix Honor Guard. This is a great unit. Like I said, this is the first time they've been on the channel, but Marnius gives an extra command point at the start of my command phase. And then in addition to that, his unit can advance, fall back, shoot, and charge. So do all the business. And the fact is that he slaps pretty hard. His Honor Guard slaps pretty hard too. So they have a bunch of great attacks. They're going to be pairing up with a 3-man Blade Guard Veteran Squad today. So the only other character we have is Uriel Ventress, just so he can give my Devastator Centurions Deep Strike and allow them to uppy downy a lot better than having to come in from reserves. By himself, he's all right in combat. He does have 6 attacks. Yeah, other than that, he doesn't do a whole lot, so he's actually not joining another unit. I'll probably just use him to either block out deep strikes or put him in reserve so he can walk on from a table edge somewhere, give me a couple points. That's the one thing this army is kind of lacking, is trash units for doing little things. I do have 1 squad of jump intercessors, 1 squad of infiltrators and ventress, but that's really it. Everything else is pretty big in this unit, in this army. So that's one of the downsides. The upside is that I kill things real good, and we're going to try and kill this army right off the table. So yeah, Uriel Ventress is just going solo today. Like I said, we do have a squad of jump pack intercessors. These guys are great for 80 points. They move 12 inches. They kind of hit hard, can do a few mortal wounds on their impact when they make a charge. Fight all right, great value for 80 points. And that move, that 12-inch moves, allows them to go out there and do some actions, score some points, that sort of thing. Like I said, we do have a 3-man Blade Guard veteran squad. Really, these guys are just to give Marneus Calgar their rerolls. At the start of the fight phase, they let you either reroll ones to hit, or you can choose to reroll ones for your invuln save. Either one of these is great value for themselves and adds that on to Marneus Calgar. Calgar already rerolls all his wounds because he's twin linked, so he doesn't really benefit from Salt Intercessors, so I figured I'd try these guys. Also, I haven't had them on the channel before. I painted them up, a month or so ago. Real happy with how they look, so I just want to put them on the channel, guys. Check out these Blade Guard. They're sweet. Next, we do have the Devastator Centurions. You guys know I love my Dev Sense. We have the 6-man squad with twin link las cannons and Centurion missile launchers. These guys always reroll ones to hit when they're shooting, and they reroll the entire hit roll when their target is on an objective. We've got a 6-man Eradicator squad. In today's matchup, they're not going to be super great. There's some Rhinos out there, and there are a couple Imperial Knights. I don't think baby Imperial Knights, but I don't think the majority of DJ's army is really ripe for their, it's not like his hitting units are going to be targets for these guys, but they're going to ride around in the Land Raider, pop out, hopefully kill some tanks. Hopefully we'll bring it down at some point during this game. As you know, Eradicators always reroll hits, wounds, and damage into vehicles and monsters. Next, we do have a 6-man squad of Plasma Inceptors. These guys have the 3-inch Deep Strike, which is super powerful. Obviously, in this detachment where I can spend a CP to uppy downing them is super strong. And the fact that their plasmas are twin linked means they're going to reroll wound rolls on top of that. So they just hit real hard, and they're fairly durable, being that they're T6, 3 wounds apiece, Gravis armor guys. Next, we do have an Infiltrator squad. So a 5-man squad of Infiltrators. These guys block out deep strikes. They're coming in from reserves to 12 inches. Super strong against many of the armies we see out there today. Things like Blood Angels, Drukhari, Custodes. They're often rapid ingressing things and getting in real close. So these guys at least block out some of that a little bit early. And then we got a couple vehicles. We do have a Land Raider Redeemer. The Redeemer is so expensive at 285 points, but man, those flamers really cook. It's got 2 flamers. Each one is D6 plus 3 shots at strength 6, AP 2, 2 damage, ignoring cover. So that's a total of 2D6 plus 6 of those shots. Man, those hit really hard. Plus, there's a few other guns on there. Plus, they have the fact that they can transport models in there. I'll be able to move the Eradicators up the table, have them jump out somewhere, and hopefully be at Melta range. So Land Raider on the table. And then 2 Whirlwinds. These guys aren't meta. They are expensive, but the fact that I can reach out and hit things indirectly is super strong. It causes problems for a lot of armories because a lot of people aren't using indirect fire because it did get kind of expensive. So that's the list. Let's talk a little bit of how it will work. So the last thing I mentioned were the Whirlwinds. And the way this army works, the way I built it and designed it, and if you saw the last battle report with me, you kind of get the idea. The idea is that the Whirlwinds can almost always benefit from Oath of Moment. The idea is that the Land Raider Redeemer, with its flamers, it doesn't need a roll to hit. It just auto hits with flamers. So I don't really worry about him going into an Oath target. The Devastator Centurions always reroll ones to hit. And if the target's on an objective, it rerolls the whole hit roll. So it does not need Oath of Moment. The Plasma Inceptors, when I drop them in, I can use that strat to get +1 to hit with them, meaning they'll be hitting on 2s, and they don't really need Oath of Moment then. They're going to be hit pretty consistently that way. We have Marneus Calgar's unit. They'll be rerolling ones to hit in combat most of the time with the Blade Guards back giving off that. The Eradicators reroll hits, wounds, and damage into vehicles and monsters. All that means that the Whirlwinds, I usually pick the Oath of target for them, and that's when they kind of do pretty consistent work, when they're re-rolling their hits and wounds. This is not specifically designed for Imperial agents. I kind of built this with the idea that Blood Angels and Drukhari and even other things like Custodes and World Eaters, those close combat armies that move really fast and can stage up behind terrain so you can't really shoot at them. Well, at least I can pick one of those squads and pound them with 2 Whirlwinds when they are getting rerolls to hit from Oath. They get pretty consistent, although their AP is not high, only at AP 2. The fact that they're strength 8 means most of those Drukhari and Blood Angel units It's wounding on 2s, which means they do get kind of consistent with their wounds at least. So the idea is they can reach out and touch trash units, small units that these days a lot of people have, and they kind of rely on them sticking around for a while. But because everyone stopped taking indirect because GW made it so expensive, the whirlwinds are 180 points. They probably are too expensive, but man, when you take them and people aren't expecting to see them, they cause a lot of problems for them. I know DJ's got a navigator that he wants to keep alive. He'll have some 5-man units. He'll have some 10-man units. The fact that whirlwinds get blessed means they'll be more consistent into those larger 10-man units. So definitely want to check out how they do today and how I use them. Like I said, they're usually going to be benefiting from Oath of Moment to get the full rerolls to hit. But we'll see how they play today. I'm just hoping they chew through some of the scoring units quick enough to cause problems for DJ to score with. So other than that, like I said, the game plan for this whole army is that everything either doesn't need to roll hits or re-rolls hits on its own. A lot of twin link stuff. I also have the stratagem that gives you +1 to hit, meaning the whole army should be hitting very consistently. Typically when I'm being shot too, if I'm more than 12 inches away, it has stealth and it has cover. But like I said, that won't really matter in this matchup because DJ is not going to be doing a whole lot of long-range shooting, just some Helverins probably. It'll definitely be effective. Again, making their AP1 basically AP0, meaning they'll be hitting on 4s. We'll definitely tone down their consistency quite a bit. Yeah, that's it. As far as the tricks and shenanigans, taking Marneus Calgar for the first time, like I said, a lot of people pair him with a big hard-hitting squad and then put another character in there and then give that character the blade-driven deep enhancement, which is just lets you infiltrate your unit. I'm not doing that. I just really I'm going to keep him back for kind of later in the game. So he's just going to stage up in position and get ready to go out there later in the game and maybe clean up some things there with his high volume attacks with his unit. He should be able to kill most 10-man squads pretty quickly once he gets into them. But yeah, so I'm not using him later. Well, a lot of other people have been using him. I definitely want this CP he gives out because man, the Vanguard is just very CP hungry between Uppy Downy, between the strat for the +1 AP, +1 ballistic steel, that's a super strong strat, using that a lot. And then I've just found that when you have extra CP, you can more freely use the New Order strat. If you get a bad secondary, you can pull it out and pick a new one, and that's super strong. I noticed that last week playing my Death Guard using the Tallyman, so Marneus Calgar is here to do the same thing. Also, he's here to look pretty too. Looks good in that Death Watch Black. That's it. Yeah, that's all the sneaky shenanigans and everything. Follow me over the battle report here. Let's see how they do today into the Imperial Agents.